So hi everybody, welcome to the Chief Exec briefing. So I'm absolutely delighted today to spend some time with our PALS team. Right in the centre of our hospital, really key to our patient and our service user experience. So I'm going to ask the team to introduce themselves to begin with. So Andy, do you want to go first?
Thank you. I'm Andy Whitworth. I'm the Head of Patient Experience. With me today are Kay, Patient Experience Manager, and Jenny and Linda, who are my PALS team. PALS, the Patient Advice and Liaison Service, is a nationally recognised model for dealing with patient, family members and carers' concerns. And at this organisation, we have Jenny and Linda, who are the two key members of staff who run the PALS service effectively. For me personally, I think it's a very difficult role. They have to deal with a lot of negative input from patients and families sometimes. But between them, they have in excess of 20 years of experience working for PALS, which is an awful lot.
Oh, thank you.
I think it says volumes for the dedication that they put into those roles. So personally, that's a thank you from me as well for the hard work that you put into.
Brilliant. So Kay,
Yes.
so if Jenny and Linda are running the PALS service, what's your role?
So I work mainly on complaints with Elizabeth Foster, who's not here today, Liz, so day off. So we predominantly look at complaints, but we are dipping in now with the PALS and try and help the PALS with sort of the remedial side of things, the quick attaches, the chases, closures, and try and answer the phones when possible. But they do get just work coming on a daily basis, so we can help.
So just talk us through then. So it's a key model, is it, across the NHS, and key here as well. So just in terms of when you said that a lot of throughput every day, so what does that look like? What does it look like every day for you in terms of numbers of people?
Well, overnight you can get up to 30 emails that just come in overnight from when we finish work at 5 o'clock right through to the morning, and then continuously all day you'll get another 20, 30 emails in. They're not all complaints. They could be chases, people chasing response. It could be resolutions, service managers, etc. But then they get about 20 odd calls as well. It can, some days are busier than others, but on a whole it's emails and telephone calls.
And have you seen that level go up post-COVID, or has it come down? Like what's it generally looking like in terms of trend?
It's definitely gone up.
With the knock-on from COVID, there's people waiting longer to get treatment, and they keep coming to us to find out what's going on. That's what we are, with advice and liaise, and hopefully help them.
More angry.
Okay.
People's attitude is
So it's quite difficult, isn't it? I think.
It can be. It's really hard because you try not to take it personally, but sometimes it can feel personal. But you have to remember that is, they are angry. They're waiting for their treatment, and we try and treat everyone like they're our own mum and dad also. So we'll try and have that, even if they are really rude. We think, well, if I was in that situation, I probably would be a bit angry too. So. Yeah, that's how we try.
It's surprising the range of things that actually comes to the PALS team as well, isn't it?
Okay.
Because people refer to the PALS team for all sorts of different reasons, many of which aren't even directly related to it.
Yeah, we triage, when we triage our box in the morning, we can have things from other organisations. They just come to PALS because that must be the first thing that comes up on Google. I don't know. We have from somebody asking us for a reference for a member of staff that might be leaving, which is nothing to do with us. But we've known people are leaving before they probably realise they got the job. But we just have such invoices, banks, and just generally where they need to go to SEPT or EPA or somewhere like that where they think it's this hospital, but it's not. So we just have to. Our knowledge is really vast, isn't it? I don't know how us.
And every day's a learning day.
Every day's a school day.
Probably some of the most rewarding ones, I guess, are where people are currently receiving care and they, for various reasons, get referred to PALS, don't they? Sometimes with good reason, and sometimes perhaps not. But those are the ones that the ladies can primarily help get resolutions for locally, as speedily as possible. Many times, I suppose, you refer them back to the wards where, they can actually get answers and liaise between the ward staff that maybe the families didn't feel they could discuss within, you know, to talk about their problems and try and get a fix. But some of the others are a bit more long term and they're not quite so easy to fix.
I think communication is key. I mean, I think they're, like I've said before, if we communicated better, we wouldn't have a job, because I think a lot of it is down to communication, whether it be telephone, letter, or just knowing who to speak to. And that's all we do, is we open up the lines of communication. I've always seen it like a relay race. We take the baton off the patient and we hold the baton until we find someone to take that baton off of us, and I hope that they will then resolve it for them.
Yeah, and you must be really reliant on the teams around you across the organisation, because you're a key team, but you're part of everybody else's team, aren't you, in terms of, as you say, holding the baton, passing the baton on. So I guess it's a request, isn't it, for the rest of the organisation to recognise the vital work you do is really reliant on everybody else, understanding that there is somebody at the end of the day who's made contact with you because they're unhappy or they're unclear or they're frustrated, and how we deal with that person really matters, doesn't it?
And also what would be helpful is any changes within departments, because we know that things change so much, jobs changes. Any information they can give us to help us send it to the right person within their team would be really helpful as well, because we want to help the staff resolve it as much as we, because we're there for the staff too. I mean, we have staff coming to us sometimes with things in the sense of, do you know what we can do with this? You know, it's really vast. You know,
bring patients to us as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Where we don't know what to do. Don't know where to send this person, you know, to resolve their
So,
issues.
of course, there's also the opposite end of the extreme, where you can have extremely angry people hammering on the glass there or hammering on the door because they're very, very angry about things. Those are difficult cases to deal with.
Yeah, so you must be very skilled at your interactions with people at all sorts of different levels, because there's a huge amount of emotion, isn't there, that happens within a hospital, and you're on the receiving end of that. So I guess
take it personally.
Yeah,
you can't, because
how do you build your resilience?
you just can't take it personally. You know that they're frustrated, so you can only be empathetic to that person, saying, we understand how you feel, we will try and resolve. It's the ones that are crying I struggle with, because we all do. We all love it.
I think
We all get patients to get to you, and you will take that home sometimes.
And there's certain things,
you know.
if it touches a raw nerve, we'll be like, can you do this one? And vice versa. But it's the support of the team as well. But we laugh about things. We laugh a lot. You know, we do have to laugh at things, and
Pressure release, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're a very small team, they're very close knit.
Yes.
Quite rightly so.
I get a absolute sense of that. Yeah.
Have to get through the day. But it stays with us. So
Yeah.
deal with things sometimes.
And you come in every day as well. So what
Yes,
drives
we all
you
come in every day.
What drives you to get out of bed and come to work? What are you most proud of?
Really, when you sort something out, you know, when someone goes away, they're really happy with what you've done for them. That makes it all worthwhile. It really does.
Yeah, we do. We get thank yous, and we've had cards, and that does mean as well. Or just
So stop by the PALS office because I've got
we
have a snack desk.
And the team itself, like I said before, I mean, I never dread coming into it. Sometimes when I'm here, I think, but on a whole, I'd never dread coming in, because, you know, we're amongst friends, and we're such a close team.
Friends and family.
And friends and family.
That's lovely.
I guess with another element of the job as well is you never know what's going to come through the
That's it.
or what's going to come down the telephone line or via an email, and you know your day isn't set out in advance.
Yeah, you could have a plan in your head, and then it can go off on a tangent. Because just by one email, and before you know it, you've been working all day on one thing when you had your plans. And I think I would be really bored if I was just sat doing the same thing every day. We all would be.
And I think when we get those wins now, they mean a lot more than they did pre-COVID, when we could resolve things within the team. But just because of, you know, the way things are at the moment, that's not always possible. But when you do get that win and you can resolve something there and then, that's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas we took that for granted a few years ago, didn't we?
Well, it's making a difference, isn't it?
That's it.
You're making a difference every day, because, as you say, you know, we have, you know, hundreds of thousands of people that interact with our services, don't we, over a year, across 4,500 staff that they may meet alongside that. And so sometimes it doesn't go well. So the response you get from that member of staff, and as you said, the fundamental bit about onward communications, when it's absolutely critical, and you join those dots up for people when it hasn't gone well, which is just absolutely vital, isn't it? But as you say, you're part of a bigger team and really need the support of the organisation to recognise the importance of being on the receiving end of somebody who's really frustrated or just needs an answer, and you need the rest of the organisation to be responsive when you go to them.
I think we have to accept the fact that we can't fix problems for everyone.
Yeah.
But so long as we make an effort to treat everybody as a human being and as an individual and do our absolute very best for them, then I don't think we can ask any more of the PALS team.
That's a lovely way to end, isn't it? Yeah. Anything else you feel we haven't had opportunity to say? No. So I'd just like to say thank you.
That's all right. No.
Okay.
As long as people realise that we are the last point of call, not the first point of call.
Completely. Local resolutions, like anybody, isn't it? If you're feeling frustrated, the initial response you get from somebody out on a ward or in a clinic and or on the telephone is really, really important, isn't it? That the skill set we have across the organisation to deal with that makes a difference. Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Benefits everybody, doesn't it?
So thank you.